But welcome back to Planet Coaster with me, Chris, playing this game. I've been playing it a lot myself over the last few weeks, but I have not been streaming it because, for one thing, I guess Nick's been just playing a lot of Dark Souls on the channel, and also I kind of just wanted to tinker around myself without, I don't know, without worrying about anything. I think this frame rate is still bad, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do anything about it. So here is the park as it currently looks. This part, if you've seen streams before, you've already seen essentially what this looks like. Whoops. I see a little mistake there that resulted in me doing some uh, surgery. But yeah, here's the park entrance and facade. Um, Here is my moat with lights reflecting in it at night, which I love. Um, we can head into the park. Oh, I added these portcullises here. Uh, and here's our little Main Street, or the beginnings of Main Street. We've got a bathroom, first aid area. We've got the train station up on top of the facade here. Let's see, where's the train? It's probably way over there. Oops, I just have some reference buildings here I was looking at. I'm going to delete these because they're not actually part of my park. So yeah, let's check out the new stuff. This ride we've seen before. This is just a little, this is not lit yet, as you can see, so it looks cool though with the moon, doesn't it? Let's go back to daytime because the new parts of the park are not lit yet. I haven't gotten around to that. So I'm just starting to build up basically some stuff to sort of flank the main street through here. So I have this little kind of fairy tale tower building here with a hat shop in it. I have this building here. I haven't figured out what, what function, if anything, this will serve. I figured I'd fill this gap with probably bushes and trees, stuff like that. And then over here, we have, this is essentially a facade for a ride, for a line, for a ride. So actually, you know what, real quick, I should show this little area here. This is my little kind of little waterfall lake area. I've hit a bug where the water level has dropped and I can't get it back up to where it's supposed to be. I don't know what to do about that, but it's just my little kind of enclosure here, and I ended up finding a way to force at least a few people to walk through. It's at a good traffic level now, where a few families walk through this path, but not tons, which is exactly what I want. And the way I did that was by just putting an ATM right there. So a few people will choose to path the long way to get to the ATM. And then I put this little kind of palace kind of right here to help block off this huge ride enclosure, which if you saw a previous stream, I completely destroyed and rebuilt this. So you can see the this is the facade for the line itself. This is just an empty scenery building that blocks this off. Eventually, when this is done, when this ride is done, I'm going to cover this entire thing up so it's no longer a huge hole in a building. But the reason I haven't covered it up yet is because you can't go through terrain. You can only go through buildings. So if I cover this up, it would be really hard to get into there and work. So why don't we? So here, this, as you can see, this building conceals the entrance, queue, and exit of this underground ride. So why don't we go through and kind of just see what this looks like. We're not going to ride through it because it would take too long and it's empty right now, but just so you guys can see like what I've created here. I've basically created a big blank interior show building that can eventually host, hopefully, a very built out interior dark ride. So I tried to make it really sort of windy and get a lot of track footage out of the space, you know, so it doubles back on itself and so on. There's kind of a moment here where we drop down underground, um, come back up, and then that's the end of the ride. So I don't actually know how long this ride is. It's probably like 3 minutes long or so, which is I think appropriate for is pretty common I think for this sort of ride. And then come back out, and that's that. So that is kind of where we are right now. As you can see, the total footprint of the park has not dramatically increased since you last saw the stream, but there's this huge enclosure here for a future ride that can be quite detailed because it's entirely enclosed, so the entire thing can be decorated. And then one other thing I did since you last saw was I completely rebuilt the train track. So there's obviously nothing out in this part of the ride, but I didn't like that the whole thing was raised because the problem I've realized that I created for myself with this raised train platform here is that you can see a lot. You can see everything basically, so you can't cheat the way theme parks often do, where walls like a 10-foot wall can hide anything, because these people could actually see over it. So for instance, I had to make this tall enough so that if a guest is up here, they can't just see over it, to what's directly behind it. So anyway, I rebuilt the train to be down at ground level to deal with that. Obviously, it's not scenic yet. There's nothing really to do, but that'll just kind of I think that'll be better in the long term. So you can see it just kind of comes around here to this one wacky ride that I just put in to give people an excuse to take the train. Um, it goes through the mountain, which is cool. And then we're out here into this big waterfall mountain zone, and then back to the depot. So that is where we stand right now. That's where we are. And the reason I was waiting on the reason I haven't filled this ride out with theme is because I thought it would be fun to do that part more collaboratively on the stream. I don't really know necessarily what I want the theme of this ride to be. The thing that I had on my mind when I was building the ride enclosure and the track and everything was Mr. Toad's Wild Ride from Disneyland, which is why they look like these sort of old-timey automobiles. I actually completely fucked up when I rebuilt this ride. When I completely rebuilt it, I built it with the like cat. There's another powered track ride that is I'll show you that instead of being in an old-timey automobile, it's in like a weird cat car um, that looks like. Oh, there's another one now. There's a sleigh ride. Holy shit! There's a sleigh ride. Amazing. Maybe we should build that today. They added that since I last played the game. Um, there's that. But the thing I accidentally built was the cat one that's in there. Anyway, fuck that. Maybe we should make a sleigh ride that is involved in the mountain, maybe? Problem is the mountain, there's no snow for the mountain, which is a bummer. Um, Architecture says winter update. Is there others? Did they add other stuff? Are there winter, like, anything else? Oh my god, look at all this shit. Look at this winter shit. Did they add snow? Ah, they added snow, someone says. Holy shit. Where? Where is that? Where's the snow? I want there to be snow. Is there no snow until you can't make snow terrain? What is going on? Oh, Bong Spam says snow is a biome. I see. I see, I see, I see. Um, well, I guess I'm fucked. Yeah, people are saying it's locked to the winter map, unfortunately. Well, that's a bummer. I got my hopes up. Architecture says there are also SFX under scenery. Architecture says you can have falling snow. That's pretty cool. That is cool. Uh, hold on, sorry. I'm trying to fix the low frame rate on the webcam. I think I might just need to get a better CPU or something because I don't seem to be able to do very much about this. Sorry. Just lowering the resolution of the webcam in case that makes any difference. Doesn't seem to. Oh well. Air Jordan says sync is the real issue. Do you know how to do anything about that? I don't even know how to do anything about that. Okay. Quilla2 says, didn't you build your PC only recently though? Yeah, I built it, I don't know, maybe a year ago. I don't remember what CPU I got. Nick was saying he's been researching this stuff a lot recently because he's also been having CPU issues, and he was saying the i7s, apparently from his research, handle streaming a lot better than the i5s do, and I think I have an i5 CPU, like he does, so that's a shame. I don't know, we'll look into it and see. Architecture says Planet Coaster is just super CPU heavy, yeah. Nick and I are planning on streaming Hitman tomorrow, and that game's also pretty CPU bottlenecked, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, let's look at what else is new in the winter update. Does anyone know what I should be looking for here? So let's see. If I look by filter, scenery theme, festive. There we go. So yeah, gingerbread house, holly wreath, icing icicle. That's pretty cool. Icing trim. Let's look at building materials. I bet gingerbread is in here. Yeah, gingerbread is in there. So it looks like it's really just, it's pretty much just gingerbread, right? That looks like, yeah, I think that's essentially the new stuff they added to the update. Are there other things they added that I should be looking for here? Scenery, are there sort of Christmas tree looking trees maybe? You know what would be cool? A topiary maze, like a hedge maze. That would be a fun thing to make, I think. Bong Spam says colorable flowers. Are you serious? Where's that? Oh, recent? Does that mean? Oh, no, that's probably recently used by me, not recently added. It's funny that they don't make this more noticeable. Maybe I missed it on the main screen. I would not have. I mean, lupine flowers. Some of this stuff's. Where are flowers typically? I don't even. Are they in bushes? Yeah, these are definitely there's some new bushes. This is definitely new. This is new. There are definitely some new bushes. Not just a couple, not a ton, but a few. So how do you, oh, I see. So yeah, I see. Change the color of the flowers here. So let's see. Yeah, look at that. Crazy. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, wow. That's great. That is really cool. What a nice update. Is that true for all of them or just, like, is that true for everything? No, okay, yeah. So not all, not the existing ones. Right, just the new ones they added, I see. Yeah. That's great though. It's really good. What a nice update. And then let's look at rides, I guess, because I noticed at least one new ride. God, I don't know the rides well enough actually to really know what's new. Yeah. I don't. I'm not. It's not really sure. Oh wow. Steam Train Railroad. So what is the difference between? Oh no, they're both Steam Train Railroads. So what is the difference between the Connie Express and the Iron Horse? Are they significantly different? I mean, that's definitely new. Um, oh, okay. So it's the car style is totally different. Man, I kind of now wish this had been the one I originally placed, but it wasn't available when I made it. It looks great though. It's a total classic style steam train. That's awesome. I love that. Locomotive is not super different really. It looks like it's just kind of different color scheme mainly. Yeah, it's very similar geometry. Yeah. Cool. Well, that's a good addition. I like that. Um, oh, here Tommy Powers is linking me to the official patch notes for the winter update. Let's see what we got. New management features. Please, like I care about that. Rides, the Collider, a retro sci-fi ride with 20 swinging gondolas. Let's take a look at that. What's it called? Collider. It's going to be at the beginning. Yeah. All right. The sleigh ride, yeah, that's cool. Might want to do that. Iron Horse, new steam locomotive, saw that. Okay, so there's three new rides, new scenarios, the Arctic location, that is rad. Um, Although I really wish that was incorporated into other biomes. Snow-capped mountains just feels like such a huge missing piece. Um, New gingerbread theme, icing decorations, new scenery pieces like Christmas trees, snowmen, gifts and presents, new shops and signs, Gulpy soda, Pipshot juice, smoothie, water, pizza pen, Cosmic Cow ice cream, Missy Good donuts. It's fine. New coaster, a bunch of new coaster blueprints. All right, and then just a bunch of fixes, which I'm not going to look through. Don't really need that. SL128 said, would it be possible to remove your current train platform and put the new type into its location? No, you can't do that because, well, I mean, I could, but I have to rebuild the entire track. Um, there's no way to just do that, unfortunately. Um, it's a real pain in the ass because I would then have to rerun the track through the mountain, and that is annoying. So I don't think I'm going to do that. This is fine. I mean, this is a sort of like charming little train. I think I'd ultimately prefer the other one, but I think this is totally fine for this situation. Also, the one nice thing about this train is that the guests face outward rather than to the front, and I think that lends itself well to various like interior purposes. So I'm fine with it. All right. So anyway, let's start thinking about what we want this ride to be. Maybe. I don't really know what I want this ride to be. The problem with, not really the problem, but just a reality of this game is that to know what you want the theme to be, you kind of have to know uh, just like what is available prop wise um, to actually put into it. Like Mr. Toad, the ride that was kind of in my mind when I was making this, is set in a sort of, I don't know, probably turn of the 19th to 20th century London, classic kind of very early, I guess a little later than that, sort of earliest age of the automobile in London was essentially when that was set. And that ride also concludes with Mr. Toad going to hell, which is why I kind of had that in mind when I put in this part that sort of dips down, and I imagine maybe this part would be the sort of underground hell zone with fire and stuff like that before you come back up to ground level and do everything's happy again. So um, so that's what I was thinking there. Internet Technique says Dishonored Christmas. That's a good idea, but I think that's better suited to the new sleigh ride, right? I mean, we could also just make a different, like, we could just make a different ride, I guess. We could start uh, from scratch with a different ride and make that. Um, but I don't think that's what I want for this ride, especially since there's already such an appropriate ride vehicle for that. Um, Tommy222 says sauna themed based on the material choices. Yeah, I definitely don't imagine that uh, this sort of like modern wood material is actually going to be what this place looks like ultimately. I think the hope is to cover it up. You know, here's a problem that I don't really know how to get around. Is it possible to make interiors dark? Because this doesn't really feel like it should be so bright in here because there are no lights. It feels like kind of a problem. I don't know if there's anything I can do about that. I don't know if anyone who's played this game a bunch has any idea how to like. I know that if I make it nighttime, it'll be dark, but kind of part of the reason I made this in the first place was because I wanted this interior to be dark so that I could light it up as needed. Um, might just be a bug, or not a bug, but just might just be a limitation in the game. Mineral Junction says, I think switching to night mode is the only way at the moment. Tommy222 says, add light source and change the color to black. I wonder if that works. A few people are saying I need to encase it in terrain. Yeah, yeah. Maybe I should actually take a stab at that. Let me save what I have right now. Enclosing an area in terrain is a real pain in the ass right now, the way that this game just works. But I think ultimately that's what I'm going to have to do. Um, I probably shouldn't completely cover it in terrain right now because ultimately, because before it's, I mean, in order to actually like work in it, I'm gonna need it to be light, and in order to know where to place the lights, it's gonna have to be light enough to put them down. But I think, fuck, it's really hard. You can kind of, yeah, see, you can kind of, it doesn't work well, but you can sort of drag out the terrain without filling in all the ground. But it tries to grab the ground when it can. So it's you have to sort of like massage it a little bit. It doesn't want to go here because there's building in the way. But sometimes you can sort of get it. See, there, that kind of worked. The thing is, it wants to just keep pulling terrain in. So I think I'm probably going to have to do a pass where I go through and clean out the underground terrain after I've pulled the roof over it. If that makes any sense, it's a real pain. Um, these tools were definitely not designed for this sort of like. There's a name for this construction technique called like dig and cover or something. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's basically what I'm doing now, which is where you build this huge hole and then cover over it with earth. That's how subways are often built. So yeah, I bet this is just pulling tons of terrain. Yep, it's just pulling tons of terrain into there. So then I have to go in and sort of push this terrain back out again. I figured for the hell part, I would actually want to pull the terrain into it because I think that's totally appropriate. But we can do that once we're actually working on that part. Tommy Powers says pull up a hill and grow it sideways. Should work fine. Um, yeah, that's true. I was hoping to get a lot of this ground flat. I was hoping to get the part over the sort of over this part, the terrain over this part to be flat, so that I can have other parts of the park on top of this, and guests walking around here wouldn't even be able to realize that they were in that crazy, that they were literally on, oops, literally on top of a ride. Like that was part of what I thought was cool about this. But I think I think I can do it. I'm just gonna have to I'm just gonna have to go in there and push the terrain back out, which is fine. That actually was faster than I expected it to. This is cool though, isn't it? Look at this. Like this is rad because it doesn't even look like it looks like there's nothing there, but there's this huge structure underneath. Like that's actually rad. I'm really happy about this. And then this part, what I wanted to do is pull terrain up so that the terrain sort of like butts up against the castle, and there's just a nice sloping hill that this train track is on. That was kind of the idea there. So let me just go through and push this terrain back out of the underground part. This actually was easier and worked better than I expected it to be honest with you. I thought it was going to be a huge pain in the ass, and it's only a little tiny pain in the ass. Is that killing the terrain up here, though? No, it's not. Perfect. All right. That was not as bad as it got. Oh, wow. Yeah, and it is legit dark down here. Oh, that's so cool. And they turn on their headlights. Fuck, that's rad. That is so good. And then this I don't really need to push the train out of because we're underground in hell. Um, so I can actually just leave it in there too. I really just need to make sure that we don't have a bunch of terrain in the like ground level part, so to speak. That's all I need to take care of. Folks are saying you have a traffic problem. Yeah, the thing I actually wanted there to be even more cars. The thing with these rides in reality is that traffic is bumper to bumper. Like there's no, like in reality, these interior dark rides, it's just car after car after car after car after car. There's no space between any of the cars. So my intention was that it would just be a constant stream of vehicles. That's what's good about those rides from a logistical standpoint in an actual real fuck in an actual real theme park is that they just eat people. Like they just pull people through constantly because you don't ever have to wait for the next car. There's always another car. So that's what it's supposed to be like, but you're limited to 20 cars, so you can't actually do that. Turn down the intensity a bit here. Kiffert is the second person to say, "Is this ride inside a sauna?" No, I just wanted a really neutral material that I could put um, theming on top of. That's the only reason. It's this sort of like clean wood, clean hardwood. All right, well look at that. That turned out fucking perfect. That's crazy how well that worked. That's actually amazing. And then it's still not really dark in here, weirdly. I guess because light is bouncing in through here. I don't know what their lighting model is like. But this part seems like it should be dark because we're under terrain. It's kind of a bummer. I guess it's because this part is not. I guess once the entire thing is covered, it'll actually be fine. Mineral Junction says, it would be neat if you could have guests board in one room and get off in another so the car turns up empty. That would be really cool. You could actually maybe, you know what? I bet you could achieve that. I didn't really plan for it. The layout here, I don't know if it would necessarily allow it. Um, yeah. If you made your station really, really long, if like if you made the actual station part of this thing, like go out all the way to here, for instance, you could have the entrance over on this part and the exit all the way back here, but then I would have to have my entrance and exit are on the wrong sides for that. This is my entrance, and it would have to be over there, and this is the exit, it would have to be over here. Or um, it would be so much. It would take so much work for me to redo that. it was already like way harder than you'd think to make cram all this stuff in here with the entrance and the exit heading down that really steep incline inside this building. It was a huge pain in the ass to get all this stuff working well seamlessly with this underground ride starting from an overground entrance. So sorry about that. Uh, Must Eat Orbital says Chris bootlegger theme. I like that idea. That's a really good idea. I like that. Um, that seems period appropriate for this kind of early 20th century automobile, and I like the idea of being sent to hell for your hard drinking criminal ways. I like that one. I want. Does anyone know if there's theming that is appropriate uh, to that? I don't even know where to begin. God, I guess we could build like you could build sort of bars, speakeasies, and stuff. Um, you know what you could start with? You could start with God, this is gonna be so complicated. You could start with like exterior, where you're kind of going through the streets of like, Chicago or New York or something. Uh, no, you're inside first, and then here when you get into this big room, you're outside because the ceilings are taller, and then maybe you go through this like part with the thin walls. Maybe you go through a saloon or something, speakeasy, and then you go down underground to hell. Or maybe when you start going underground, maybe it's like secret store, barrels of beer and stuff like that. And then it turns out you're in hell as you round this corner and there's fire and stuff. And then you come back out and you live happily ever after. And then you leave. That's probably what it is, I think. It sounds like a lot of work, but it's a really good idea, I think. I definitely like it. Um, let's see. 619 SRT is asking, what game is this? This is Planet Coaster. It's just a huge planet. It's a huge theme park designer, basically. Um, this is my theme park so far. Warnos says, I recently learned that in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, there is a series of catacombs under the city that bootleggers used. That's crazy. I never knew that. I have family in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I have an aunt and uncle and cousins who live in Lancaster. So I've been there a bunch of times. I had no idea. That is fascinating. I wonder if there's anything you can still see from that era, that scenario. Well, God, where do I even begin with this? I don't even know where to begin. It's crazy. Let's start. God, let's start with a proof of concept and see if we can start making this area look like it's actually outside. What kind of building sets do we have in terms of walls and stuff that could actually look anything like a 20th century um, city? There's brick. Maybe that's what we want. I think there's brick in here. Isn't there? Painted wood batten. That could work for some of the buildings. Painted wood planks. That could work for some as well. Rough brick wall. No, that's not the right kind of brick. It's like sandstone bricks are not really what I want. Stucco. God, there's not the kind of just like classic red brick, is there? That's kind of a bummer. It's this like kind of fucking Tuscan shit. What do I want? Painted wood plank. That's not too far off. Um, I mean, you could also have some of these like castle wall things for a city hall kind of building. I mean, just, big stonework. That could be totally appropriate. Um, gingerbread. I wonder if gingerbread would work for anything. Probably not. Well, I mean, it does just, if you don't have any of the like icing and stuff, it just kind of looks like, you know, whatever. And you can change the color, I believe, of a lot of these building materials, which is good. Metal alloy. That was a kind of space station looking shit. Oh, modern brick wall. So let's see. Let's see how possible it is to make a modern brick wall that looks like a classic red brick wall by changing it to be. Um, just fool around with this and see if we can get it to be more of a brick red. Ends up looking kind of pink. I mean, yeah, you can definitely. I mean, it's like perfect brick, which is kind of a bummer. Um, Wait, people are saying classic brick walls right there. Really? Am I just an idiot? I mean, I am obviously, but this is modern brick. Oh, classic brick. Oh, God, I truly am a moron. It's confirmed. Oh, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted. All right. Um, 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 um. All right. So here's our exterior zone. So you know what I could actually do is I could start building, I could replace these walls with the kind of wall I'm looking at. Let's build one kind of building facade and see if it actually works out. God, it is so hard to build underground like this, or to build in these like weird constrained spaces I have found. Um, and then I'm going to want one kind of like here, I guess. Because I want to be able to I want a straight wall instead of following the weird contours of how this interior ride building had to be created. Does that line up? Yeah, it does. Air Jordan says lots of Z fighting. This must have been a mess to build. It was crazily difficult to build. It was really, really hard to build. Okay, so that I can delete this wall because we're going to have this brick wall covering up that area anyway. I'll have to cover that hole with something over here. God, that's actually the really tough part about that's going to be a challenge here is making the opposite side of the wall. I might have to sort of move this curve in here so that I have room to build another wall on the other side of this. Let's see. Is that actually possible? I can't tell yet. Let's see. I can, though, really quickly just drag this curve in. I've got, oops, fuck. I hate the way that when you edit a ride, it zooms you all the way back to the station. But anyway, I've gotten pretty good at massaging the track to fit what you need because I had to get really good at it in order to make this ride enclosure work at all. Uh, as you can see by how much camera collision I'm getting with the camera, or like clipping I'm getting with the camera here, this was a very complicated project because of how small the space is. There we go. See? Now I have room there to make hopefully room if I'm correctly on the grid, which I may not be. I have room to double up this wall. God damn it! I was hoping it would be right on the other side. So what is going on here that's not letting me? Oh, okay. So actually, these brick walls should be 1 unit over, and then actually could have just left those other walls where they were, because these can be 1 unit out like that. And see, then now I can have these cover that up. Perfect. And then this, I'm going to have to do something about this gap with probably scenery or something. So yeah, see, now I've got the walls reflecting the correct materials on each side, or at least the correct materials until that other side has a better material. So let's put some doors and shit in here. Are there any door? I mean, this is again like there aren't really. Okay, this door works well enough for this sort of building, right? This is like a just sort of normal ass classic door. You can put one like there, and we can put this kind of door over here. What's this? Actually, you know what would be cool is if the suggestion was that this was a different building and the brick work was a slightly different color. And then we want some kind of like something to actually break those two so they look like different buildings. Like these. So God, I love this game. I know I completely skipped over that first room, but this seemed like something that was basically achievable right now, so I'm just doing it. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Is there no music? Why is there no music in this game right now? Oh, oops. Actually, you know what? Let's move this. Oops, what am I doing? Let's move this door. Kind of, well, actually, I kind of like it over on the side like that. And then this one, let's find a different kind of edging to decorate the wall, so it doesn't look like the same exact building. Maybe just some like, no. Oh yeah, here we go. This works. Why is there still no music? Actually, you know what? These I want to push a little in so they're not protruding so much. That's better. And then this can come out a little bit so they're similar. Why is there still no music? God damn it. I hate the way that the widget often just does not reflect the directions that it seems like it should, given the orientation of the actual models being used. It's very frustrating. See, that worked that time. When I have both of them selected, it flips out and gives me some wacky thing. Bong Spam says maybe no ride music because it's in test mode. Yeah, but I was hoping for just game soundtrack, right? Like, shouldn't they play soundtrack in pause mode only? No. Like, why isn't there just game music playing? That's what I don't understand. Huh. Maybe it's because I'm near a ride? I'll open the ride. All right, so I want to, you know what I need to do to sell this a little bit more is I need to like, one of the buildings should be of different heights, right? So I need to create the illusion that that's true. Let's look at roofs maybe. Problem is well, not problem, but I'm not as familiar with the roofs for, like everything I've been doing is sort of castle looking stuff, so I'm not as familiar with what the roofing options are for other kinds of buildings. I actually just don't think this game has as much stuff that's as appropriate to this sort of building. Warna says make one of them have a balcony or awning. That's a good idea. Good idea. I always find that stuff really difficult to find in here. If I just search for awning. Tile awning. Maybe this one, like, up at the top as though there's a... as though it's sort of like extending off. Actually, you know the other thing I need, the other like problem to solve here is what does the ceiling look like? Like how do we create the illusion that we're outside, which is a classic thing that in actual of these rides in real life, you know, you're often inside and they try and make it look like outside. I don't actually know how to achieve that. I wonder if we can just put like black, a material that's a pretty just flat, untextured material, and just change the color to black. That might be one way to go. Like one of the sci-fi kind of just like hard plastic materials, maybe. Man, this is not ideal. There's no way to get this to work. You know what I can do? Because these buildings are bullshit anyway, I can just move this stuff over a bit. God, of course it's giving me this fucking shitty garbage. Not too much. God, that is so annoying. Mineral Junction says turn a pillar on its side to create a trim between stories. Yeah, I love that. I kind of did that over here. Um, so yeah, let's do it. And we can give them slightly different story heights maybe to just to sort of try and create a bigger distinction between these two buildings. Um, Aesthetic Noise says, your park is hemorrhaging money. Yeah, that is true. Very true. Let's kill that awning. We'll go back and figure that out later. Brick pillar. I wonder... No, that's way too thick. Tommy Powers says, consider Sergeant R's idea of pulling out one of the facades to give it more depth. Oops, I think I missed that. Let me see. Where was that idea? Sergeant R says, can you bring one of the facades out slightly to give them a bit of depth so it doesn't seem so flat? Yeah, very good idea. Let's do that. We're going to have to see. The way the building works in this game, walls like this, which is what I'm making these buildings out of, like these are actual building pieces as opposed to scenery pieces. They're on a very constrained grid, so there's sort of a limit to what you can do with them. But let's see if I'm lucky and I'm on a good part of the grid. There we go. Okay, I can push it back. So I can push this one back, which creates the effect of that one being out more. So there you go. That works really well. And now I need to mess with the rest of this stuff. Whoops. Gonna have to fix that. Tommy Power says, what's with the grid reference in the options? Can you have multiple grids overlap? You cannot have multiple grids overlap in the same building, which is why you can see that I have some of this stuff at a 45-degree angle from the other stuff. Those are actually two different buildings. Let me show you. So that's because you can't, within the same building, you can't have overlapping grids. So there's this building, which is everything on this orientation. Then there's this building, which are all the parts at the other orientation. So that's, you know, all the stuff on this orientation is this building, and then all the stuff on, where's the other one? This orientation is that building, and then I actually separated out the facade building entirely separately because I'm worried I'm eventually going to hit the object limit on some of these. There's a 2,000 object limit. Oh my god, I'm already halfway there with this one. Oof. Musteed Orbital says, Chris, adding a stoop entryway and raising the door up could also add depth. Fucking great idea. Good idea. I love that idea. Okay. Let's go in here. I have built little steps up to doors before, and I can just never remember where any of that shit is. Spenny Dubs says Chris should consider sidewalks, roadway, etc. That would inform the height of the doors and stoops. Yeah, that's true. God, how do I do that in a building context like this? How do I do that? The problem is I'm kind of concerned about the ability in a ride like this to, like, the ride track asserts its own, like, domination over stuff. Like, an actual path, I don't think it is possible to have it, like, interact. Yeah. Well, you can get pretty close, actually. Problem is they have this stupid railing on them. It looks like garbage. I don't have any ideas for what to do to create the illusion of roads and stuff and sidewalks. I don't actually know what to do there. I don't know what tools I have available to create that kind of illusion. Musteed Orbital says, could the ground level be made to simply be cobblestone to give the impression of a streets. Oh, and people are saying you can also remove path railings in the path options. Okay, all good. Oh, this is all good information. And to answer Mustard Orbital's question, yeah, let's look at what kind of roofing we have available. I just used it as wood roofing. I just used obviously the same material for the entire interior just so I had something to start with. But yeah, let's actually look at what kind of flat roofs we have. This is actually roof. What flat roofs we have available here. So we have that. It's not quite cobblestone, but it is heavy stone. Um, Gingerbread could be good for like dirt. If well, the problem it's got those rounded edges though. That doesn't work well because you can change the color of this stuff, which is pretty helpful. Um, that's what I have now. Rough concrete. Concrete could be useful. So this could be good too. Someone asked, why did music just randomly start? I bet it's because I was outside of the ride. I think music must not go when you're near a ride because they want to use the ride zone music. That must be the reason. That could be good. This tar pitch. This could be good for this sort of stoop area of this building maybe if I reduce the grid size. Oops. God, the problem is the grid is just so coarse. It's such a, you're dealing with such big units. Actually, I could put a railing around this, actually. Kind of looks, just kind of ends, but whatever. I can maybe fill that in with a post or something later. Let's... It's actually in the wall? No, it's not. Okay. I mean, this is starting to look like something, you know? I do think I agree with whoever it was said I need to replace the flooring. If anyone has any opinions about what some good which of those materials is a good floor, I welcome them. You know what? Let's try this other railing type because it looks like it's kind of finished off a little bit better. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Oops, that was dumb. Look at that piece of shit. Okay. Not 100% ideal, but something. Actually, you know what I could do? I can sort of just overlap this onto here. To create a smaller segment, and then, oh, and aligned incorrectly. All right, and then we can just sort of put the door over here and put a big window over to the left. So let's check out our windows. Works pretty well for this. These shutters are nice though. The shutters are good and picturesque. I feel like I want this brick to be even more distinct from the other brick. Yeah. So it's less obviously that same texture because it doesn't have those like really noticeable darker bricks. Mario actually one says, "Man, this seems fun, but also like so much work." It is so much work. I just like it. I like it for some reason. And let's put some wooden posts. Oh, interesting. What is this? Oh, you know what? This might have been a good. This actually might be even better edging for this building. Oh, I never fixed these. Yeah, because these, I think these I maybe. Actually, fuck. You know what? Sorry. These big ones I think I want to use for some kind of civic building built out of stone. These I'm going to use in the building to the left, and then I'm going to use the brick edging for the building on the right. That is what I want to do. Classic brick decorative course 1. Well, where's classic brick decorative course 2? All right. God damn it. Didn't give me the fucking right directions. It's so annoying. To fucking drag it back and forth in this wacky way. That is such a huge bug that I wish they would fix. Like, I'm sure in order to fix it, they have to individually address all of these materials, but they really, really need to. All right. Or not materials, these models. But they really have to fix it. It's infuriating. Let's just look for brick in general so I can see what other brick stuff I have to work with. Oh, all right. Not much. Columns. Brick pillar, brick pillar. I wonder if that would work at all. This is not necessarily good, but let's see how this looks up here. Doesn't really make sense that the bricks are aligned differently. I mean, I guess I could use this smaller one and... Oh, is it not actually the same? It's not actually like... Oh, I see. They're just really, really light brick materials. God, I guess you could make an entire brick wall out of these tiny little things. That would be so time consuming, but you could do it. Okay, I guess this is the one I want. Sergeant R says a move relative to model coordinates versus world coordinates seems like it would be useful. They actually have that. It's like that's in the game. It just doesn't. It's incorrect a lot of the time. Like the model coordinates are just not accurate. That's why I say like they need to actually fix it on a per model basis because it just doesn't work how it should much of the time. It's very, 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 very frustrating. These bricks are actually different sizes. Yeah, this isn't going to look great. Maybe I can kind of like rotate it to see a different face, different. It's not really going to be ever exactly what you want. Yeah, it's just never going to match up unless I keep repeating the same face. That's a shame. It also doesn't seem to rotate exactly correctly. Tommy Powers says, are these parts reaching out the top or back of your walls? They are, but there isn't anything over there, so I'm not that concerned. Like this part's going to have hill over it, so in this particular case, I'm not that worried about it. On this side, it would be more of an issue because we might punch through to this part of the ride. But over here, not really a big deal. Anyway, let's just get this go. Oh God, see, look, look. As I move left, it's also moving in depth. That's so annoying. So you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna dupe this same one because I know it'll work. The whole way over, even though it looks like shit, and I can eventually plus it. Actually, you know what? I can kind of overlap it a bit, and you could still see the seam up on top, but it's okay. I don't even know if that works, but that's fine. Let's put in a second story in here. Tommy Powers points out this gap. Yes. Still tiny little gap, but it's hard to get rid of. Let us get some thick wooden beams. God, the music just started for a little bit, and Sergeant R says 1920s gangsters and speakeasies would be kind of cool. The cars make me think of that era. That's actually what we're doing. That is literally the theme we're doing. This is the like exterior of the city, and then we're gonna move into the inside a saloon or something as we turn the corner. I think that's what's gonna happen. Oops. Whoop. Let's put some windows up on that second story. What is going on? I'm having weird, like, mouse issues. This thing's lagging or something? I don't really know what's going on. What is going on? Stop. Ugh, doesn't look very good. Problem is the door is not, is because of the way the balconies fell, the door is aligned in such a way that I can't put, maybe I just won't try, maybe I'll put 3 windows up here instead of 2 and just not, like, just ignore the, trying to match up to the alignment of the stuff on the first story, which is not really, still not very good. But I think it works better than if I were trying to align it against a door that can't really be aligned against. And these feel like they should be darker. I wonder if I can change their color. Yeah. Yeah, maybe a little lighter than that. Yeah, it seems a little better. And actually, you know what? These should be darker too. Okay. Let's do this building. This building seems like this slightly nicer building because it's got, just because of the sort of edging and this roof tile thing that it's got going on. So I'm going to use like a nicer looking window, I think. And I'm also going to use nicer wooden beams to delineate the stories, I think. Maluna says, where's the light coming from in here? Everything looks kind of fuzzy. The light is because buildings don't actually block light, only terrain does, and I have not yet covered this part up with terrain, so we're still getting light in here. Heathen Steven says, make sure you add some lanterns and stuff to the building facade too. That is a really good point. I am going to need that when I'm, because eventually, as I just indicated, we are going to have real light. So, good point. Let me just get these buildings kind of, the basics of the facade just in there. And then we will do just that. Oops. Wooden pillar. Oh, there's an 8-meter wooden pillar. They're not? Oh, here. Oh my god. It's actually longer than I even need, I think. Maybe 4 is what I want. Oh no, never mind. Perfect. Oops. All right. Actually, you know what I should do is I should have a little, you know what, we should probably have stairs coming up to all of these buildings, as someone, I forget who, but someone suggested earlier, and I think that's really smart, because I think that'll really help to create the sensation that there's an actual foundation this stuff is being built on, which is tough for these like fake interior buildings. So I forget where the stairs are. No? Steps, maybe? There are little tiny stairways. Yep, this is what I was looking for. Okay. Oh, you can't change the color of this? That sucks. That just looks like totally out of step with the rest of this building. Oh well. These are the same, I guess. Yeah. Whoa. Oh well. That's a shame. What are you gonna do? God, that makes this other building actually look like the nicer building, but what are you gonna do? Let's go find another awning. Actually, this like with this weird little stoop. This is not stoop. These little steps. This building actually looks like one that should have an awning over it. And this works with the tile roof that this building seems to have. Doesn't really quite all work. I don't know. Can't decide if this works or not. Maybe this should be. God, I feel like I need a reference building. This should be like at the height of the the like beam, maybe. Heathen Stevens says the green cloth awning might look okay. Let's try that. Where's that? Is this one what you mean? It's so huge. Wish it wasn't so fucking huge. Oh, you know what? This actually kind of works. It's like fancier than the building, but that's maybe okay. I mean, it sort of just suddenly makes the building look fancier than it actually is. Maybe I can get a slightly fancier door, actually. You know what? Move that a little to the left, and then move this a little bit to the right, and raise it up a bit. Oh, this is maybe the one? Oh, that could work too. Those actually could both work. They'll both work. They just create a very different kind of building, but they both totally. I like both of those options. Let's just go with this. And let's put some. Let's put some. Actually, you know what's nice about this is that it sort of gives this beam some like reason to be higher up and makes these buildings look a little more different. Let's put some windows up there. Is it still technically not high enough? Yeah, because you wouldn't want the door to open into it. Okay. It's probably still technically not as high as it would be, but I don't want to push it too far because I need the second story up here. All right, let's find some windows that we haven't already used. Well, this works for this kind of building. Oops. Need something for this part of the building. I wonder if there are like signs and stuff we could use. I have not dived into signs at all. So I have no clue. The problem is I don't think there are going to be a lot of signs that are like that are period appropriate for what we're doing here. That is my guess. Oh, here, this is, let's see. That's. Oh man, I'm gonna have to make a tiki thing in this park somewhere. Excited about that. Wish that coffee sign didn't say 1994 on it. That's really the big problem with it. God, all these signs are so modern looking. It's a bummer. I mean, I know that makes it's because the idea is you're making a modern theme park, but it's kind of a shame. I mean, there's just these coffee shop signs are the only ones that look even remotely period appropriate, but it's not even really very much. Ugh. Heathen Steven says there might be more signs in the building section under wall decorations or something. Well, let's take. Oh, shop decorations. Yeah. Let's see. Not much that is useful for these purposes, unfortunately. These are all awnings and stuff like that. Wall decorations, maybe? Whoa, this must be new. Oh, I see. Gingerbread icing stuff. It's wacky. Yeah, not a lot of great sign options. What a bummer. Mineral Junction says, oh, wall signs. Duh. Okay. Stuff still does not really look like what I want. Oh, whoa. All right. That's could be cool at some point. Can you put words on it or? Yes, you can. Okay, cool. Booze. What does that look like when you do that? Okay, good, good, fucking good. We will get there with this. Not just yet, but that will be good when we do it. Not a ton of options, but some. Miscellaneous sign. God, they're huge. Oh, this could be fine. I mean, it's sort of intended to be a piratey thing, but you can get away with it, I think, if the rest of the theming is good enough. Oh, here we go. That's Western sign, but that'll be good for saloon kind of stuff. Here we go. Okay, now we're in the zone. Now we're in the fucking zone. We're in the zone now. Zone. Can you put text on this thing? Yes. Fucking good. All right. Sign zone. Good sign zone. You don't want that there because that actually just blocks your view entirely. So maybe what we actually want is to swap where the door and the window are here. Kind of blocks that other building though now, doesn't it? Well, that's okay. God, it sucks though, because that's your exact line of sight. Yeah, you don't really want that. You want the sign to be maybe up higher, perhaps. I just really don't want to. I just really don't want to just directly block line of sight to that building. God, is it plausible that it would be like intersecting with this wooden beam? I don't know. Could it be on the edging? That's kind of, well, yeah, maybe that actually works. Yeah, that doesn't really look good, but you wouldn't be able to see it because it would be behind you as you go past. I guess that part could sort of come off. I don't know. That doesn't entirely make sense, but it's okay. See, that looks pretty good. That looks like a part of a city block, I think. What should this even say? What should this be a sign for? I don't even know. Let me start getting some lighting going in this zone. Man, okay, that's a huge improvement. That's a big improvement. Look at that. Look at this fucking thing. Torfia says, shouldn't the sign be on the second story? Oh, good idea. And then has some reference. Let me show you the reference material here. Nick often does this. He puts reference material in his streams. Let's If anyone has any good reference material for any of this stuff, let me know because I'm totally open to it. And I need to increase their game resolution a little bit because I'm kind of cramped right now. Okay. Yeah, I really like that idea. So let's go ahead and do it. I think that is much, much, much more appropriate. God, look at that. Look at that. It's like a real place. So good. A couple people have suggested dentist or barber, things like that. I kind of like barber. There's no actual barber sign in here, is there? Surely not. Not in a theme park. No. That would be great if you could have the classic rotatey barber thing. Classic barber zone. I know this makes these not quite centered, but from the perspective of the guests, they won't be able to tell really. Barber. Oh man, different fonts. Gross, fucking gross. Why are they so thin and crammed? Not very good options. This might be the best one, which is not encouraging. People are saying barber dentist. Let's see. Does that actually even fit? Oh, that actually ends up looking, the font ends up being less fucked. Let's see, do any of the other fonts work for that? Let's see, do they have support for an ampersand? Yeah. Hey, look, there's some music. Wish this was playing all the time. This sounds like a song from Quadrophenia by The Who. Not this part. The part when it starts. Architecture asks, can you install other fonts in the folder it's scraping? That is a good idea. If someone wants to research that, I would totally appreciate it. You know what would be good, maybe in some of these places, these sort of like hanging plants. I like those. Let's get some lights going. Oh, this. Yeah, look at this. get some fucking lights in here. Iron box lamp. Oh, that's cool. Wonder if we could make like some cool old-timey street lamps. Let's actually just give that a shot right now. I mean, this doesn't. That's not really actually what kind you want, but it made me think of it. What would be good for street lamps? The iron square lamps. There's hexagonal ones as well. Maybe the hexagonal ones is what you want. If I turn them upside down, maybe? Maybe upside down is not correct, but let's find a iron pipe. Can we just like make a wacky street lamp? This pipe looks maybe too thick. Yeah, looks way too thick. What if I search for pole? Wooden pole? Nah. Definitely want it to be an iron pole. What if we look in scenery? Oh, actually, you know what? There are real street lamps now that I think about it, because I've placed them in my park. So I guess I can just use the normal ones. That's fine. Candle torch. God, could we make a barber sign if it like went into the wall? It's got that crazy thing on top of there, though. I don't know. I don't know if that's quite sells it. Torpheus says, this street in Galena, Illinois looks kind of like what you're trying to build. Let's see. Oh, this is a good reference. I like this reference a lot. Thank you. Let's add this in. It's a very wide shot. It's a beautiful photograph. It's a very wide shot. So I'm going to kind of just crop it a little bit so it doesn't cover up too much of the game. Yeah, that is totally what I'm going for. God, I don't. You know what really is a big part of this is those story height huge windows. Those ground floor big windows. That is a big important thing that I am not. I don't think I'm going to be able to reproduce because I don't think there's just any equivalent of that in this game at all, unfortunately. That is totally what you want. If anyone knows any workarounds to create that, actually, I mean, totally let me know, though. Oh, God, look at these fucking lampposts. Whoa, did they change the lamppost? Or did I just place two of them on accident? I think I just placed two of them on accident. Yeah, I did, okay. I was going to say, that is a weird choice for a lamppost. Architecture says you should do some faux bay windows. Yeah, I mean, I agree. If anyone has any great ideas about how to tackle that, that would be rad. Fiona says, is Chris lagging behind his voice or do I need a computer restart? That's my fault and I don't know what to do about it. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's my fault, but it's my computer's fault, certainly, and maybe also mine. But I just have no clue how to deal with it. Mineral Junction says, you could clip together two of the plain window pieces to create a tall, thin window. Yeah, let's give that a shot. Not with the brick building, probably. But let's make another like a stucco building or a white limestone building or something. Oops, let's kill this weird lamp. I guess that should be back here. Lochno says, is there something you can do about these Z fighting floorboards? Yeah, we do need to find a new flooring material. So we can actually start killing these and building new floors instead. Does anyone have any opinion about fuck, this is a problem with these. This is gonna start cutting into we'll solve these problems as we get to them. Does anyone have any opinions about what flooring material we should be using for this zone? Technically roofing material, I guess. Roofs. Flat roofs. This is sort of sandstone bricks we could do. Oops, smaller grid is what I need. No? Why can't I build there? I don't like the border it has. I mean, this is like this would be like a very nice street. I guess these buildings are starting to look pretty nice. People are asking about cobblestone. I don't think there's actual true cobblestone. There's just this like, there's very straight cut stone, but not really cobblestone, which is the bummer. I mean, there's just sort of concrete, which is not very attractive. Architecture says, can you change colors? I think so, yeah. You can with walls. I assume you can. Yeah, you can with the flooring as well. What is this exactly? What is tar pitch roof? I don't actually know exactly what that refers to. Like, oh, you can't even change the color of the stuff on top on this one. It just changes the wood color underneath. Tommy Powers says, are there any walls that could look good as ground texture? Doesn't matter because there's no way to, the building materials are constrained to really, really strict grids. You can't rotate walls along that axis. You can only rotate them around the y-axis, not the x or z axes, which is what you would want. So yeah, no, unfortunately. Oh man, I'm tired today. Maybe this is what we want. It's the closest thing to cobblestone, just really big stonework. Architecture wants to know if this has a color option. Yeah, give me 1 sec. I suspect it does. Oops. Z fighting. Yeah, oh my god, it's got a very complicated color option. 4 different colors. I can turn off my cam for a second to let you guys see. Let me just finish selecting these tiles. So yeah, you can see here there are a bunch of different colors. I don't even know what colors are even appropriate in this zone. Actually, here, you know what I can do real quick to fix the fighting? This actually might make sense anyway, is I can put this ground on a slightly different height. Actually, you know what? I need to make the grid height less. Fuck, now I have to reselect all of them because you can't save a selection. Oh, I can't make it higher because the track is in the way, but I can make it one lower. And then I'll just have to make whatever this stuff is, you know, thematically appropriate to whatever's inside this part. And then we'll just, the ground is just of different height, and that's fine. So that fucked all this up, although, fuck, shit. I think I can gloss over it by just duplicating this stuff and just making the buildings look like they're... No! Oh, okay. God, how do I do this? I'm gonna have to just move everything. Oh, this might be too much work. I'm gonna just figure it out later. Anyway, anyone have any ideas about colors for this stuff? One thing to bear in mind is I'm really bad with using color pickers on a computer because I just am. I'm really bad at it, as you'll find out, I guess. This sucks. Gonna have to figure that out too. Actually, that'll be okay because this will be inside and we can cover it up with all kinds of scenery. I mean, this is already looking better than obviously just the wooden boards, right? This is basically kind of looking like we're outside. I would like to, before we get too much farther, maybe we should figure out black ceiling. Like, what can we use that is just a totally neutral black? Let's see if this works, just as one test square. Yeah, I mean, it's goofy looking, but I think that'll be fine when there's actually no... The problem is there's still light all coming in, and once it's covered with terrain, that won't happen. So I'm not super worried about it, actually. And you know what we can do after this is all placed? We can actually then destroy the wooden roof on top of this to save some, because you're limited to how many pieces you can have per building. So I don't want to chew through too much. Let's actually see where we are with this building. We're at 998. We're about halfway through the limit, so we're going to definitely skyrocket through the limit. So we're going to have to deal with that when we get to it for sure. Maybe make a third building. Actually, you know what? It's okay if this part... I was going to say it's okay if this part goes through the wall because the entire thing's going to be inside, but this part's going to be inside in the fiction, whereas this part is outside in the fiction, so the ceiling is black. Whereas the parts that are officially like inside a bar or whatever, those are... You're not going to want those to have just like weird flat black roofs. Why is this not working? Why is it only moving on the big grid and not the small grid? Oh my god, this is so annoying. Dealing with grids is so difficult. I understand why they have these really strict grids, but god, it is hard to work with. What's going on? Oh, I'm in the wrong building. Why am I on the wrong grid? Why am I in the wrong building? What is going on? Okay, there we go. Oh my god, this is so difficult. Just fucking get there. Oh my god! There. Christ. Once you have an entire row, you can duplicate it and it remembers your height better, but oh my god, picking it the first time is a nightmare. Alright, we can extend that roof further if we have to. Bong Spam says, could you nighttime briefly to see how this looks in the dark? Good idea. It'll probably be crazily dark because we don't have any lights. Oh, fuck, though. This is going to be good as hell, you guys. This is going to be so fucking good. Look at this shit. Look at this fucking shit. Imagine if it looked like this even during daytime. Fuck. Oh, fuck everything. Fuck. Okay. Got to put more lights in here. We should just work this way, actually. We should just work at nighttime. Want to illuminate this sign so you know that it's a barber and a dentist. Maybe I'm going to use the cheesy, like non-fictionally appropriate light. Just a classic thing that happens in theme parks. Or can we hide it? A thing that often happens in these rides is you just have lights just on the ceiling with no justification at all. Oops. Can you change the light color of this or just the color of the actual box? Unclear. So I definitely want the box to just be black. Is this for the light color? Doesn't look like it actually changes the light color. So maybe I want a colored event light actually. Oh, what did I do? This is a much more intense light. Actually, you know what? Maybe I should be in world axes. Yes, I should be in world axes for this. So I don't want it to be intersecting with the actual like building facade. You know, one thing I really wish you could do, and if someone knows a workaround for this, let me know, is I wish I could make the light less intense. Like if I just move it farther away, the spread becomes huge. I just want the light to be less bright. That's all I want. I still want it to have like the same focus of beam. I just don't want it to be, I want it to be fewer watts essentially is what I want, but I don't really think you can do that. Let's give this a nice warm, yeah, nice warm light. Oh, people are saying make it a darker color. Yeah, that's true. Could just do that. Okay. And then I want these actual buildings themselves. Oh, fairy lights. That's cool. That must be from the new thing. Oh, Lantern Tower. Oh, whoa. This might not be new, but I definitely haven't seen it before. I just haven't looked at it, I guess. Huh. All right. Well, I do want to put some lights on the buildings as well. People are saying you can also throw gel in front of the lights. That's a good idea as well. Let's see, what lights do I want to put on these buildings? There's a good, I never remember where to find this thing, but there's a good like iron sort of raw, oh, here it is. Okay. This is actually exactly what I was looking for. It's a little iron like hanger that you can, well, I don't know what it's intended for, but I put lights on it usually. This is so annoyingly difficult when the rotation is wrong. Oh, actually, I guess I could make the rotation correct by just rotating the model. And then going into relative axes. Oh, it's already correct anyway at this point. That's fine. Hey, Professor GC3 just subscribed with Twitch Prime. Thank you, Professor GC3. I think I want a different kind of lamp for this building just to kind of make it look different. Yeah, let's put this here and then space this stuff out a little bit more. Well, but I want that to align with the door, so maybe actually I'll put it on this side and only have the plant on one of the two sides. Oh, Tommy Powers says you might want to save these lamps as blueprints. That is such a good idea. To do that, I think I have to take them out of the building. Then... Why can I not select both of them? They don't let you... God, it's so annoying to select multiple things when you're not in a building. Okay, now I can save as a blueprint. God, I've made that so many times. It's so easy to do, and I've just never done it. Scenery. Hanger and lamp, hexagonal, blarg. All right, there we go. Now I have it. Architecture says control click. That does not work outside of buildings. That only works inside of buildings. So once a thing, and blueprints cannot be part of buildings. So you can control click and then remove it from the building, but then once they're no longer in the building, you cannot control click to grab multiple things. Believe me, I've tried so many times. All right. Well, this little zone is kind of cool. I like this little zone. It's very convincing, I think. I mean, obviously it's only one half of the street. So let's make it daytime again, and I'm gonna, on this side of the street, I think, I'm gonna make a sort of civic building. So let's actually kill these walls. The Dude Emperor just subscribed with Twitch Prime. Thank you, the Dude Emperor. Thank you very much. I'll put myself back over here. You know what? Let's just kill these two because I'm going to end up making walls, and we'll recreate the walls if we have to. I wonder if there's any good way to... No, fuck. Actually, you know what? Let's see what happens if I move this on a smaller grid. 2 to the left. God, this is so frustrating. Oh my god. Not being able to use the widget to move walls is torture, basically. Yeah, you know what? That's not... that's too much of a pain to deal with right now. We'll figure it out when we actually know what needs to be on the other side of that wall. All right, so let's go in here and make a new building. Let's make a big, elegant stone building. How about that? Do I want... No, not the stucco. That's not what I want. I guess I want the castle walls, maybe? I forget. Yeah, that's what I want. Oh, I'm in the wrong building. God damn it. Okay. Let's see what happens when that pokes through. Barf, barf, barf. Oh my god. Okay. There we go. I could make it 1 unit farther this way. I can cover that up with scenery. That's okay. Tommy Power says, how often does the game auto-save? I'm worried every time the frame rate slows down. I don't know. I'll save right now. That's a good point. For what it's worth, I'm actually not lagging at all on my end. It's the stream. It's like encoding to the stream that is actually causing the frame rate issues. So the game itself is running perfectly fine, but XSplit, which is encoding the video stream, is chugging, and that's the problem. So I'm not super worried about the game, but you know, there's always the risk of crashing, so I should obviously be saving regularly. So good call. Oh my god. Oh fuck off. Why is this so annoying? Gonna make a slightly more like dignified. Actually, you know what? These should maybe all be the same color because I'm looking to make a classic civic building as opposed to a like medieval kind of cobbled together stone thing. All right, are there like neoclassical columns or anything in this game? Probably not. I don't really think I've seen anything like that. Actually, maybe this building shouldn't be the entire wall. Maybe it should, maybe, I don't know what this is going to be. This is a big, big question. People are saying stucco columns. Yeah, okay. All right, so they're square pillars, which isn't exactly what I wanted, but that's totally fine. That's totally appropriate to what I'm thinking about here. Oh, good. We're the perfect height. So actually, I guess that means I need to extend my my roof a little bit more. Did I do that wrong? I did do it wrong. Oh my god. You have to keep changing the grid height every time. It's infuriating. I wish you could just globally change the default grid size and height. All right, there we go. Tommy Powers says, okay, another question from the German guy. What does civic building imply? I mean like a municipal, like a public building, you know, like City Hall or the courthouse or I mean civic architecture I think even includes stuff like the Opera House or the Symphony Hall or things that are you know, often have been under public ownership or usage, things that are intended for like the civic population at large as opposed to like a private for-profit business, stuff like that. Um, that is what I mean by civic building. So maybe we'll make it a little smaller and then we'll do something else with this zone. So let's actually see where the where good. Okay, so if I make it like that. And then this we can do white stucco and maybe we'll try and make some fake bay windows. We'll see if we can achieve that. I'll just stub in the stucco walls for now, and then we'll deal with it later. Here we go. Fuck off with your grid size. What is your problem, you piece of shit? Okay. And actually, yeah, we'll be 1 unit farther out. Yeah, just again for that variety in our buildings. And I'll move this over a little bit to cover that up. Okay. Is this? Yeah, okay. Whoops, need a little bit more floor. Sometimes the height bugs out and it's really annoying. I'm trying to play. Oh my god, this is so frustrating. Oops, that wasn't even where it needed to be. Where is it? It's okay. This right here. Just go where you're supposed to go, please. Oh, fuck off. Why do you hate me? Okay, there. All right. Daimonate says, I really ought to say thanks, Chris, for the nice, soothing stream. It's a lovely, calm way to end the day. Thank you. I'm really glad you feel that way. I'm always worried the Planet Coaster streams are just going to be boring as hell. So it's always that's why I haven't streamed in a long time because I'm worried it's just nothing happening ever. All right. So that goes there. Actually, you know what? I'm going to lower these a bit so we get more of that nice looking detail work up there. And actually, you know what? For this, I'm going to want there to be an actual explicit roof because columns shouldn't exist unless they're actually supporting something. So let's see here. What should that look like? God. This part of placing shit is so difficult. It is so difficult. Nope, that's not even good. God, there's just no way to do this well. Bored Steve says, I find it fascinating to see someone's creative process and flow, especially as someone with no creative bone in his body. I mean, the thing that's honestly been really fun about this for me is that I'm not an artist at all. You know, I mean, like I work in a creative field. I mean, I have a creative job by nature, but definitely not with visual art in any way. And so it's actually really fun for me to do this and feel like I'm sort of exercising muscles that don't typically get exercised in the stuff in the actual parts of my job that I do. So it's cool for me as well for that reason. God, these are so hard to manipulate. You know what? I'm gonna not do this with roofing. I wonder if there's something I can do, if there is stuff that isn't actual walls. Like, are there surfaces that that anyone know of that I can use to just make? I don't even know what it would be. I'm trying to find. s- I'll deal with it later. Fucking Christ. Okay. What else do I want to put in this actual building? Graham says, how do you choose between creating stuff out of default Planet Coaster pieces versus Steam Workshop prefabs? I mean, Steam Workshop prefabs are just made out of Planet Coaster pieces. Also, you can't make your own. You can't model your own stuff. So everything on Steam is all made from the same stuff I'm using. So everything I've made, I've just made by hand out of stuff that comes with the game. But that's true for everyone who's put anything on Steam Workshop as well. There's no distinction. That's just all you have to work with. So that is that. God, the problem here is that buildings like this often have big open entryways, but I can't really do that because there's nothing on the other side of this wall. Actually, well, I guess, yeah, there's not really enough depth here to have this convincingly look like it's going inside of anything. I don't know. I don't really have an idea for how I would do that. Torpheus says, any news on when the Wizards Jam stream is going down? Yeah, probably early to mid-January. There's just no time between now and then to do it any earlier, unfortunately. There's just not. Well, let's see. Do we have any big kind of elegant doors we can use instead, I wonder? It doesn't really look like civic architecture. This, I think, is actually going to be kind of a challenge. This is tough. I don't know what to do here to make this look like what I want it to look like. Heathen Steven says, I wish you could paint on an illusory entrance, Wile E. Coyote style. Yeah, that is definitely what you want for this. All these doors just look like castles. So that's just not what it's just totally not what I'm looking for here. do not know what to do. I'm stuck. I'm stuck, you guys. I've built myself into a shitty hole here. I don't know what this building should have, and I just don't think there's a building set in this game that actually has the thing I want, but I didn't realize that until I'd already kind of started building. What a bummer. Architecture says make it a Catholic Gothic church. It's not a bad idea. Not, God, it's just totally not the vibe I was going for, but hmm. Wonder if that's possible. What is that doorbell sound? Oh, when you go to doors. Oh, I never even noticed that. It plays a little sound based on what category you're going into. I thought that was some kind of Windows notification. That's what it sounded like to me. Well, if it's a church, you definitely want a stepped entrance of some kind, which means I'm going to have to edit this track to God damn it, to give me a little bit more room here. Okay. Feet Hands Face says, could you make the Civic Building run all the way into the rounded turn and make the round into an elaborate entrance? That could be cool. I would want to swap it then. I wouldn't want it to be this entire half of the street because then it would. I want the scale to kind of suggest that like this is an entire city block with like multiple buildings all slammed into each other. So I guess I could just swap this and that, uh, the stucco building and the stone building. Let's look at what I have to work with here. Uh, let's see, how would that work? And then when you get through here, I want you to be in the saloon. That's okay. Heathen Stevens is linking a. Here's some reference material. I don't know how exactly I'm gonna manage that. Let me show you guys what I'm looking at here. The challenge with this is that the trying to think, are there the pieces to actually make this? I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of rounded stuff like that. Because this isn't an actual rounded wall, it's just a rounded awning over a flat wall. And I don't know if there's actually like rounded stairways, rounded kind of roofing and stuff like maybe. I don't know. Don't know. Architecture says there are three-quarter roof parts. Yeah, that's true. The stairways, though, you'd really want those to mirror the roof to end up being cool, right? Wonder if you could create rounded stairs by stacking things. I don't know. Not sure. Someone is linking to... Oh, this is cool. Someone linked to a Steam Workshop building. God, could I recreate something like this, maybe? Let me show you all what I'm looking at here. Oops, XSplit is freezing. Very bad. Bad sign. Let me save real quick. XSplit is still frozen. Can you folks still see me here? I don't like the fact that XSplit is not letting... Okay, good, it's back. God, that was really freaking me out. So here is a Steam Workshop building. It's pretty sweet. Oops. Oh, they kind of looking what they're doing there. So, the tough thing there is that the this like curved part, you would actually be able to see through this, right? Like if I were to recreate this reference material, you would be able to, if you were here, you'd actually be able to see through this all here because it's open. That's the point of it. Whereas the reason I made this like big, huge rounded column thing was to break up the space. Like one of the things dark rides traditionally do is they have you wind around a lot so you can never see around like the next curve, and that way they can totally change up the theming on a dime, and suddenly you like curve into something that looks totally different. So I'm kind of wary of making this a kind of open portico gazebo kind of thing there. We'll think about it. God, that is a beautiful building that someone made though. That is really gorgeous. It's called Main Street Black Forest 009, by the way, if you want to look up that building on Steam Workshop yourself. Main Street Black Forest 009. Maybe, even if I do use this as a building, maybe it should be the actual stucco part instead of the stone part. I'll leave this as it is because it would be a huge pain in the ass to like move these, swap which wall is where. It's just I just hate dealing with wall grids. But let's try and finish off this little whatever this zone is here, and then we'll figure out what we're doing with the next part. This is a suitably grand door, I think, for whatever this building is, a church, whatever it is. Let's see if we can make. I don't think there's any suitable stairways for what I want here. There's this. Yeah, oh, gross, fucking disgusting. So we might just have to build some kind of stair steps. Maybe we can build it out of these. Let's see what happens. This might be really shitty, but let's just see what happens. Definitely need something to kind of square that off at the end there. Architecture says rotate that out. Get the texture to play better. Not sure what you mean. Sorry. SL128 says, I think it's illegal in most places for steps to be that short. You know what? I think you're probably right. Let's try this again. Oh, fuck. Yeah, that's much better. I don't know why it started with them being so shallow. That was weird. These are still actually probably more shallow than you'd want, but I think given that this is like a weird fake interior facade, I think that's actually fair. It's often the case in theme park fake building design that like parts that you can't actually yourself interact with, often they're of weirdly foreshortened scale, and I think that's okay. And I'm going to drag that out a little bit more because I'm going to make the top step. I'm going to duplicate it. Look at that. That basically works. And then let's fix this thing. Gonna have to fix this still, obviously. We'll get to that in a second, but let's put some cool churchy fucking windows up on this thing. Oh, those are cool. I want the single pane version of that with the little decorative element. No, too tall. I guess they don't have a single pane version of that. That's kind of weird. They have a triple paned and a double pane, but not a single paned version of the one with the little flourish at the top there. God, I want something shorter than this, but, you know, taller than this. I don't think they have it. Oh well. It'd be cool if they had stained glass. I wonder if they do have stained glass, actually. Let's just search for stained. That's presumably what it would say. No, it's not going to work. what would I have on this sort of higher up? I'm looking for stone church. It's all, I mean, it's just so much stained glass. That's the thing. But yeah, I just don't really have that option, unfortunately. And I guess more windows. Not tons of. I guess this. Oh wow, someone linked a work in progress Notre Dame. That's pretty sweet. Someone has created stained glass. I'm not exactly sure how. Oops. I can't. I'm trying to zoom in on it, and I can't really. Let me see here. This is really cool. Let me get this up on the screen for you folks. I have so many images open right now. Okay, let me get you a screen region. That is very cool. Oops, whoops, whoops, whoops. Sorry, I fucked that up. How did they? All right. I mean, this is the problem here is that the scale of this thing is just absolutely massive compared to what I have room for. There's just not really a way for me to reproduce that. Oops, oops. Um, in this little scale. See, this is why I need windows that are bigger than these ones that I have down here so that the second floor can have smaller stuff in it and create the illusion that it's a taller building. I mean, that's how theme parks are built, but you can't adjust scale in this game at all, and they just don't really have a good in-between window size for what I'm looking for here. That is the problem. I guess I could use these double-paned windows up there. Oh, you know what? Here, this is what I'll use for the first floor. Perfect. That's actually perfect. That is what I want. Graham says, I don't know enough about Planet Coaster. Is there a way to work off grid for things like tiny insets of archways, etc.? Yeah, you can basically work off grid if the thing you're using is like not a building piece, right? So like the thing I'm building right now is off grid. I can move it any like tiny little amount I want because it's not actually like classified as a building piece, whereas these walls and floors are building pieces and are on a very large grid, and that is it's just a distinction that the game makes. One Kevin 888 says, "Would Chris be the type of person who would build model planes and stuff?" I never have done that. I've never collected stuff like that. The closest thing would be when I was younger, like mainly elementary school into like junior high, I guess. I kind of fell off of it in high school, but I used to play Warhammer, this like fantasy miniatures game that you play on a huge table. It's like a strategy game that you play with dice and stuff with big armies, but you have to like assemble your army with these little plastic and pewter miniatures that you then paint, and I got really into painting those. So that's probably the closest thing to like model airplanes and stuff that I ever got really into. It's been like, God, it's been probably 15 years since I've touched any of that stuff. Internet Technique says can the color of the window frame be matched to the doors and columns? Let's see. What is the color? Oh yeah, looks like it basically can. Yeah. You know what's fucking insanely stupid about this is that you can't really see what the color is going to look like when you're changing the color because the blue highlight is applied to whatever you're working on. How fucking ridiculous is that bullshit? I can't even believe that decision. It makes me like infuriated because the color is going to end up looking different once it's no longer selected and it doesn't have the blue on it. Truly unbelievable. Truly fucked. That's close enough. But thank you very much for pointing that out. I should have obviously done that immediately. Let's see if we can get it for this guy too. Oh, we totally can. Perfect. Wow, that makes such a huge difference. Good Lord. Thank you, Internet Technique, for reminding me about that. Brocco1337 says, how else do you visually designate what the player is working on then? You can do that, but once you're in the color selection screen, the way you visually designate it, one, you have this outline, this white outline around it that's already there no matter what. Also, when you're changing the color, don't put a tint on it. Like, you know the one you're working on because you can see the color changing. And I don't think the blue tint adds enough to justify just like slamming over your color choice, which is the actual thing you need to be paying attention to in that second. I just think it's a very bad decision. You have to just keep unselecting it to see what you're doing. Oops. Okay, let's get this spaced out a little better here. That's close enough. This is not a super convincing church, but I think with the scale... Oh, Mark Hoog says maybe a double one in the middle. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's try that. What I want is a little circular one. That's actually what I really want. I wonder if this we can kind of fuck around with to make it's actually too small, actually. What do the double ones of these look like? Oh, that's much better. Let's do that. And they're shorter too, which is a problem I keep going up against with these. So that was that. Carved double panes, yeah. Carved double narrow. Too big, too big. All right. Is there a cool thing I can put in as a centerpiece? That's actually what I kind of need, I think. What should I put in here? Oh, that'd be cool if I had more vertical space, stuff like this, but just not enough room. Not enough room. Oh, wow. Graham says, are there any half-circle window-esque parts that you could combine to make a full circle? I'm not sure. I haven't really seen any, but that's not to say there aren't. I mean, this thing maybe could be something. Too big by the time I combined a bunch of them. All these pieces are just massive, which is cool for, making the stuff outside, but pretty tough to integrate, I think, into what I have right now. Oh, this is a cool looking thing. Maybe I'll just have this. Maybe this is just what I'm going to do. Why does that say wooden? That's supposed to be wooden? It does not look wooden to me. Actually, I guess I still need to figure out what the sort of roof of this thing is going to be. I guess I could, this could kind of butt right up against it once I actually figure out what that is, which I still don't know. Still need more stuff on that second floor. It's not even necessarily have to be a church. I mean, these windows really make it seem very churchy, but this could be something else. Must Eat Orbital says, can you scale props? Nope. You cannot. Some people are really bothered by that. It doesn't really bother me. I understand why they didn't do that, and I think it's fine. It would obviously open up it would open up essentially an infinite amount of additional of options if you could, but I totally understand why they don't. Uh, oh, cool. Someone actually has a perfect example of a civic building in the workshop. This is totally the kind of thing I was originally thinking of. Trying to think if it would be possible to do something like this in this amount of space. Let's see. God, they just created here. Let me show you folks what I mean. Whoops. They just created big rounded pillars by just slamming a bunch of more straight cornered pieces together. It's pretty cool. I mean, they did a really good job. You can see the seams though that show how many different things they stuck together to create this. It's also of huge scale. Um, I'm gonna basically stick to what I have, so I don't want to start things over. But Jazzercise, so many things would be easier if you could scale. That's true, but also, I mean, like, look how long I'm already spending on this shit right now. If you could scale stuff, it would just create, like, I don't actually think I would end up saving any time because I think the bar for like something being good enough would be raised so much higher that it would actually just be an endless trap that you would fall into forever. Um, and I kind of I prefer it being limited in this way to sort of force you to work within constraints and have stuff that's like good in the context of this tool set. I just prefer it personally. Although I totally understand why some people pine for scale. This is not great. I like my other buildings a lot more, but it's something. I don't know. Got to find some other kind of accoutrement for the to fill this space on the left and right here. Doo -doo 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 -doo. Oh, we could have some gargoyles. Goofy dragon gargoyles. I wish there were more gargoyle options. I guess this fucking weird ass dragon is the. I think technically these are not gargoyles because they're not supporting anything. I think there's a different name for these things when they're not actually supporting. Oops. Thought I was editing this Scarlo. There's no color option for it. God damn it. Well, that makes me not want to even use it because it would be so out of character with everything else here. And you can't change this color, this part of the door, so that's never changing. Yeah, it's too bad this is the only stained glass they have. I mean, one, it's just too big for my usage, and two, it's of a king. Which is, I mean, that in itself, I guess, is fine. Well, you know what? Here, actually, we could just make it sort of an abstract thing, and uh, let's see if we think this looks decent at all. Like, at this point, you almost can't really tell what it is. And if we can surround it with something. Oh, Nick says he's going to stream Star Wars Rebellion whenever I'm done. I'll finish this up so Nick can stream as our stream hero here at Idle Thumbs. God damn it, that's not quite it's not exactly right. I was hoping that this would just match the curve, but nope, no such luck. Let's see, I wonder if there's any other curved stuff that I can possibly use for this. What can I do here? I guess if I find some really, really small pieces, like 2-meter pieces maybe? God, even that is really big. A 1 meter. Where is it? Oh, fuck off. It's on the grid? Are you shitting me with this? God damn it. Ugh. Why is the only 1 meter... Let's actually just search for 1M. Oh, they're all on the grid. That is infuriating. God. Okay, here we go. Here's one. Let's see if we can, first of all, make this like... Let's see how much of a piece of shit this is. How about that, folks? Let's just make a total garbage thing. So I guess I need to pull this out a little bit more. Oh, Feethand's Face says that piece that was a right angle combined with a curve that had little designs in it. I have a suspicion that'll actually be too small, but you know what? I have no idea where to find that thing, but let's look. What is this? Oh no, that's a building piece. Can't use that. Wall decorations, perhaps? Yep, here it is. Oh, this might be. Oh, you're my fucking savior. Oh my god. Thank you, Feet Hands Face. I think it's gonna work. It's totally gonna work. Let's just push this back into there. This is some legit shit. Oh my god. man. God, that totally worked. That totally worked. It's a perfect radius. I can't believe it. It didn't even have to be like fiddled with. It's just ideal. Okay. God, now that I have those, I almost want these windows to be smaller because I have so much space taken up in there now. Which is not. God, I wish I had even smaller windows now. Let's see. How much. What can I do with this? I need really tiny windows. Can these be? I wonder if I can do anything with these to make them. Nope, no color. It's such a bummer how some things have color controls and some things don't. Maybe I can just not use windows there at all. Maybe instead I should be using some other decorative element. I think that might be true. Lights maybe. It's fucking crazy things. Old ass torches. Nope. This would be for an interior of a church, probably not really for an exterior. It's crazy dragon lamps, nah. Maybe just these lanterns. We still have to figure out the whatever ceiling part is going to happen up there. Maybe an eaved ceiling. I don't know. Roof, whatever. I wonder if there's any like little stuff we can put in here. Problem is this stuff. Whoa, those are huge for one thing, and they also kind of make it look medieval. Whereas I want it to be maybe a building that is built in a Gothic style, but still like in a modern city, which probably wouldn't have pennants on the exterior of a church like that, because the church isn't associated with the state, and it just feels not like what you'd want. Let's look through hanging skeleton. I gotta use that somewhere in this park at some point. Gotta have that thing for sure. Huh, that's cool. I might just come back to this. Someone, I forget who, someone, I can move these up a bit actually, that might break up the space a bit. Someone asked me to do a run through of the park after I'm done with the church, just to kind of show where everything is at this point. Let me just slap a roof on this thing and then call it on the church for the time being, and we can come back to it later if we feel the need to do that. Am I in the wrong building again somehow? How does that keep happening? Okay. Oh, grid size, of course, is wrong. Grid height, also wrong. Thanks for being garbage. Oh my god, I hate this. It's impossible. God. Oh my god. All right, I don't want to use actual building pieces. I need to find some other material that will work for this. Well, I guess I could use roof trim, actually. That might work. Oh, it's impossible. It just feels impossible to place this stuff. It is so painful to try and place these building pieces in this setting. It is such a pain in the ass. Okay, there we go. I think I got it. Of course, that's totally wrong. And now I can't even select it. That's another huge problem, is selecting things. Are you serious with this? Not letting me select this thing? No? Still not? Okay, there. Oh, the grid's too big. Look how huge the grid is. Now I'm fucked forever. I'm gonna have to make the building thinner. That's my only option. Fuck. God, I don't think I can use building pieces to do this because the grid is just way too unforgiving. Right here, I'm gonna have to find a different thing. I'm gonna just find like pillars or something that I can rotate on their side and use those instead. Um, oh, that's on the grid too. Great, everything's on the grid. Actually, maybe I can use these weirdly and just kind of rotate them around a bit. There's this. Oops. Just looking at all the different pillars. Let's see. This is kind of a wacky. No, it's not symmetrical. It has to be symmetrical. Okay. Cytolytic asks, Chris, have you played any Mario Run yet? Yeah, I love it. I really, really, really like it a lot. Been playing it a bunch. And I think it's super good. This is not ideal, but all I really am trying to do here is just square off this building, and that's about it. I mean, yeah, that's not really anything. Maybe I should actually get rid of this thing now that that is there. And I can raise the second story up a bit. Actually, I wonder if I can put in some like... I wish there were thinner pillars I could be using for this. Concrete column, maybe? To break up the floors. No, it's not quite big enough. I have to mess with the color. Let's actually first see if we can do anything with the color to make that work. Let's grab the color from one of these. Not really the same because they're applying some kind of like tint to it. Doesn't really seem to be making any difference. What is this color even doing? It's not changing it at all. Well, that's useless. what I want is one of those courses. Can this be colored? No, can't change the color. Ah. Well, maybe I'll use the same one I had before, but just put it here instead of at the top, and then I'll just raise the whole second story again. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't think it's going to work. Actually, what if that was like part of it? I don't know what I'm doing. Mineral Junction says you could lose a step or two to lower the first story a little also. Yeah, maybe that is what I should do here. I think I just don't have enough breathing room. Oops, actually I should grab from the bottom because the top is already the correct width. Let's push these back in a little bit. Oh, that's actually nice. This makes it a little bit less assertive. And then I wonder if I can move these back a little bit without losing any detail. Oops. Oops, fuck. Can't be pushed in at all. Just need slightly more stuff here. Yeah, close enough. This can be raised up a little bit now. All right, this is not the best thing ever, but it's something. Oh, you know what? I never fixed this. Fuck. What are we gonna do about this? Oops. Good night, Mark Hoog. It looks like Mark Hoog is taking off. Is that, did I read that right? People are saying good night. Yes. Good night, Mark Hoog. Thanks for the help. Okay, that basically works. Let's just kind of... This is very absurd, what I'm doing right now. It's just kind of just smushing crap together in a dumb way. That's okay. After I'm done with this thing, I'll show you guys the park for the latecomers, and then I will let Nick return to his shenanigans. All right. I mean that you know works well enough. Obviously, a total thing, not the greatest thing you've ever seen. But let's put it back to nighttime. Oh, that's cool up there. We need some lighting for the bottom of the church, certainly. You know what we need, I think, is a classic blue light. Yeah. That's what you want. And we'll have to just have something here to um, cover this light. I don't know what we're going to have in this area yet, but we'll just, this light will be covered with something. Look at that. Look at that shit. All right, the street's starting to come together here. So you've got this. I mean, this is actually good to have this church right here when you come in because, we're setting the scene of like you've got the the church, the sort of moral authority that you're going to flagrantly defy as you get into your bootlegging activities as this ride progresses. So it's a good little thing. Tommy Powers says short test ride to see how it looks from the car. Yeah, let's do that. We'll stop as soon as we get past those buildings because obviously there's no point in there's just no point in doing it for the whole thing. Ride camera, seat. Are we at the beginning? I'm not even sure. No, we're not. We're not. How do I, let's see. Oops. Okay, here we are at the beginning. Let's watch this go through here. Maybe the beginning should start in actual, like a lot of darkness. That's pretty common for dark rides as well, to just start you off in darkness and just sound, oh, that's cool as you start to see the street. All right, so we're going to definitely need something on this wooden wall to the left here to sell this. Just another building facade, probably. Look at this. Man, the scale actually feels a lot better when you're in the car. It really like, oh yeah. All right, so that's, we're not very far yet, but that stuff looks really cool. I like it a lot. Yeah, it's going to be great when this whole block is filled. Like when you can't see any of the crappy brown, just wooden walls, this will be really, really cool. All right, so there's that. Let's get out of here and look at the park. So this is the building that leads to that. I don't know if this building is like still thematically appropriate to what's inside of it, but that's okay. Oh, oh, sorry. I left this, someone told me to get rid of that little reference material. I'm sorry, that probably ruined that ride through, but yeah. So here's what we got so far. Oh yeah, here's the train at the station. Always looks good with the train at the station. And this little zone. We didn't see this stuff at night before actually when I started the stream because it was daytime. So over here you can see these little sort of fairy lights hanging from the tree. This castle. Oh, those lights are busted. I've noticed, I don't know if anyone else has had this experience, I've noticed sometimes lights just stop working and you have to rebuild them or they'll just never work again. I don't know. I don't know what to do about that. So yeah, there we go. Thanks for joining me. Oh, looks like Nick said he's not going to stream anymore. Ah, fuck. Sorry, Nick. I was going to get off so you could stream. Well, I think I'm going to get off anyway because I'm kind of tired. Maybe if Nick doesn't stream, I can come back later this evening and play something else. But for now, I think I have to take off because I need to eat something. I'm pretty hungry. So yeah, thanks all for joining me. Looking forward to coming back and building more of this out. Good night, or good afternoon, wherever you are.